Welcome back to our podcast, your space to learn English in a slow, clear, and practical way. Today's topic is morning routines that can change your life. This episode is perfect for English learners from a 1 to B1 level. So sit back, relax, and let's begin.
You know how sometimes the simplest things can have a surprisingly big impact? We're always looking for these complex acts, maybe. But what if the real key to a better day is just how we start it?
Right, that very beginning.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into a morning routine.
Yeah,
You sent over this really interesting document. It was originally aimed at English learners.
that's right.
But what struck us really is how powerful these initial steps seem universally
Yeah.
for anyone.
Exactly.
So our mission today is kind of explore these, seemingly basic actions and pull out the core insights, how they can boost your energy, sharpen focus, and just generally set you up for a more positive day, whatever you're tackling.
Exactly. And while, the language learned context gives it a specific frame in that document you shared,
Yeah.
the underlying principles, they're really about optimizing our physiology and our psychology.
Okay.
It's about building that foundation, so you can be more effective, feel more in control. Doesn't matter if you're studying vocab or facing a packed workday.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's jump right in then.
Let's do it.
The routine in the document kicks off with waking up early, 6:30 a.m. sharp.
The early start.
Now, I can already hear some listeners thinking, ouch, maybe? But the document really stresses the value of that quiet, that peaceful time.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just, less noise, what's the real power in starting so early?
Well, what's really interesting here is how it connects to our natural circadian rhythms.
Okay.
Waking up with, or maybe even just before, the early morning light. That can help regulate your body's internal clock way more effectively than, say, sleeping in and then, bam, jolting awake to artificial light.
Right. Less jarring.
Yeah. And this can have this cascading effect on your energy levels, your mood all through the day. It's not just about grabbing a few quiet moments.
So it's more foundational.
Think of it like getting a head start with your body's natural wake-up process instead of sort of fighting against it later.
That makes a lot of sense. Working with your biology, not against it.
Precisely.
So the next step is something so basic, it's almost easy to just, overlook it. Drinking water.
Yes. Simple but crucial.
Seems like a no-brainer, but why is this highlighted as so important right after waking up?
Well, just think about it. After, 7, 8 hours of sleep, your body hasn't had any fluids.
True.
And even just mild dehydration can really impact your cognitive function. Makes you feel sluggish, less alert.
Yeah, I definitely feel that grogginess sometimes.
So that first glass of water, it's not just about, quenching thirst. It's about rapidly replenishing those fluids. And that's vital for everything from how your brain works to energy production, right down at the cellular level.
Wow. Okay.
It's a very, very direct way to just sort of kickstart your system physiologically.
Like hitting the reset button for your body.
Exactly. A system reboot.
Okay. So following that, water is stretching or some light exercise. The doc mentions simple stretches, arms, legs, back, or maybe a short walk.
Mm-hmm.
We all know exercise is good, but what's the specific payoff for doing it first thing in the morning like this?
Well, what's really fascinating here is the immediate hit, for both your physical and mental state.
Okay.
Light physical activity gets your blood flowing better, right? All through your body, including to your brain.
Okay.
So that doesn't just help you feel more physically awake, maybe less stiff.
Yeah.
It also delivers more oxygen, more nutrients right to your brain. And that can sharpen your focus, maybe even lift your mood a bit through, releasing endorphins.
Right. Those feel-good chemicals.
Exactly. So it's about gently waking up the whole system, body and mind kind of in sync.
Okay, so we're feeling more awake, more mobile now. Next up, taking a shower. Plus the basics. Brushing teeth, washing the face.
Standard stuff, yeah.
It's part of most people's routine anyway. But does it play a specific role within this kind of structured morning?
Well, beyond the obvious, hygiene,
Sure.
the sensory experience of a shower can actually be pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That change in temperature, whether you like it warm or cool, it acts as another signal to your body.
Like, okay, time to be awake now.
Precisely. Time to be awake, be alert. It's a refreshing sort of jolt that can help shake off any lingering sleepiness.
That's right.
And those simple acts, brushing teeth, washing your face, they're small acts of self-care. They contribute to feeling prepared, and that can positively influence how you see yourself as you start the day.
Right. It's about feeling physically and mentally kind of presentable, ready.
Yeah, put together.
Okay. Then we get to a really important one.
Mm.
Eating a healthy breakfast. The document gives examples: eggs, toast, oatmeal.
The classic.
We've all heard breakfast is key, probably since we were kids. But what's the sort of science behind why it's so important for sustained energy?
Think of it as refueling, right?
Yeah.
After that overnight fast,
Yeah.
your body just needs energy to function optimally. And a good, nutritious breakfast provides the glucose your brain and muscles are crying out for to power through the morning. The examples you mentioned, eggs, toast, oatmeal, they offer a pretty good balance. You get carbs for immediate energy, protein for sustained fullness and muscle repair, plus
Whoa.
other essential nutrients.
And skipping it.
Well, skipping breakfast often leads to those energy slumps,
Yeah.
reduced focus, and potentially eating more later in the day because your body's trying to make up for that missed fuel.
Definitely relatable.
Yeah.
Okay, now this next part is intriguing. Reading or writing something positive for just 5 minutes.
Yeah, just 5 minutes.
Seems like such a small amount of time. What's the psychological thing happening there? What's the mechanism?
Well, what's really interesting is this concept called psychological priming.
Priming, okay.
Yeah. By intentionally exposing yourself to, say, positive affirmations or maybe inspiring quotes or even just journaling for a few minutes about good things in your life,
Mm-hmm.
you're essentially setting a positive emotional tone for the whole day ahead.
Oh, okay. Setting the mood.
Exactly. Even just those few minutes can help shift your focus away from maybe worries or stressors and cultivate a more optimistic mindset. It's like a proactive way to influence your internal state before the external stuff starts hitting you.
Like a little mental tune-up or reset button.
Precisely.
Okay. And the final step in this specific routine is planning the day, making a to-do list, and this seems key, identifying the top 3 priorities.
Yes. The top 3. That's crucial.
How does that help with feeling more in control, more productive?
This really taps into the power of structure and intentionality, how you manage your time and energy.
Right.
By just making a to-do list, you're getting it out of your head.
That's right.
Externalizing that mental load makes tasks feel less overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely less swirling around in there.
And identifying the top 3 priorities, that is so key because it forces you to actually focus on what really matters.
Instead of just the easy stuff.
Exactly. It stops you from getting bogged down in less important tasks, the busy work. And it ensures you're making progress on your main goals. That leads to a much greater sense of accomplishment and, reduces that feeling of being scattered or unproductive.
Makes sense. Get the big rocks in first.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've looked at each of these steps kind of one by one. But the document also talks about the cumulative effect.
Mm-hmm. The synergy.
Yeah, how doing these things consistently leads to feeling better overall, less rushed, less tired, more calm, more ready. How did these small habits create such a big impact when you put them all together?
Well, it really is the synergy, like you said, how these habits work together. That's where the real sort of magic happens.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. When you're well-rested, you're hydrated, your physical and cognitive functions are already working better.
Right.
Then the light exercise boosts energy and clarity even more.
Mm-hmm.
A good breakfast gives you the fuel to keep that going. The positive input shapes your mindset. Planning gives you direction. Each step kind of reinforces the others.
I see.
It creates this positive feedback loop that just sets you up for a more resilient, more effective day. And, even if you only manage to incorporate 1 or 2 of these, that can still disrupt old, maybe negative patterns and start introducing that sense of control and well-being.
That's a great way to put it, a positive feedback loop, disrupting the negative ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, for you listening, you share this document with us. This isn't about suddenly trying to do everything perfectly tomorrow morning.
No, definitely not. That's
And-
usually a recipe for failure.
The document wisely suggests starting with just one small habit. So, based on everything we've just talked about, what might be a good, easy entry point for someone looking to build a more intentional morning?
Yeah, good question. Well, given how simple it is and the immediate impact, just drinking that glass of water first thing, that's an excellent starting point.
Super low barrier to entry.
Exactly. Minimal effort, but you get a real physiological benefit almost instantly. Another potential easy win could be just setting your alarm maybe 10, 15 minutes earlier.
Just a little bit.
Just enough to allow for a slightly less frantic start, less rushing around. The key really is to choose something that feels genuinely achievable for you.
Right. Sustainable.
Yeah, and then build momentum from there. Small, consistent actions are always much more effective than trying to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Absolutely. It's those small wins, those incremental improvements that really compound over time, isn't it?
Totally.
You're not aiming for, perfection on day one.
Mhm.
It's more about gradually cultivating habits that support your overall well-being, your productivity.
And really, it's that conscious choice, isn't it? To start your day with some intention
Yeah.
rather than just reacting to whatever email or notification pops up first. That's ultimately what makes this kind of routine so powerful, I think.
This has been, wow, a really insightful deep dive into something that, might seem obvious on the surface, but clearly has a lot more depth to it when you break it down. It's fascinating just seeing how these simple, really practical steps can have such a, holistic impact.
Indeed. And, while your initial focus or the document's focus was maybe on English language learners, the core principles we've explored today, they're truly universal. Cultivating a positive, productive morning routine can benefit pretty much anyone who wants to enhance their daily life.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe here's a final thought for you listening. What single small change could you maybe implement tomorrow morning, just to start experiencing some of these benefits firsthand?
Yeah.
Think about the power of just starting intentionally, how even one tiny step could potentially reshape the trajectory of your whole day.